All right, welcome to another broadcast of Unleash Independence. Today we have Cameron from Unleash Independence. Cameron, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And then we also have Brad. Brad Lowry is in Ohio. He's the director of the Republican, sorry, not the Republican, wow, the Libertarian Party in Ohio. That's bad. So, Brad, welcome and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Brad, you want to give a little background of kind of everything you've been involved in with Liberty?
Sure. Several years I identified myself as a Democrat. I was very into civil rights, and then I finally realized, hey, they're not for that, and I started making some money. I was like, well, I don't like this taxation thing at all either, so I became a Republican, and they disgusted me even more than the Democrats did. So I was politically homeless until I found the libertarian, the belief, the mindset, which I had no clue that it even existed. So I really sat on the couch, went to a few local meetings, really didn't do anything, and really got active with Governor Gary Johnson in early spring. I know a lot of people came to the Liberty Movement through Ron Paul. Gary Johnson is kind of my Ron Paul. That was the person who finally made it clear to me. I'm a business owner, pretty successful franchises. So I got involved with the Libertarian Party of Ohio because I like structure, I like organization. I feel that's the best way to quickly grow an organization and pull resources so we can get the message of liberty to other people. So that's kind of my background, and I'm currently the field development director for the Libertarian Party of Ohio. I'm the former Ohio co-director for Gary Johnson.
Awesome.
Great.
So what's going on in Ohio right now? What things are you liking? What things are maybe you're tryio to fight against right now to protect or secure liberty?
Ohio obviously is a critical state in the elections. Every 4 years we became the epicenter as far as political action in the United States. 1/5 of the Romney and Obama spending budget was spent between Cincinnati, Tampa, and I believe it was Jacksonville, Florida. So we were just slammed with information in the state of Ohio. Over 50 visits, I believe, made by both of them just to the Cincinnati region. And it was not Cincinnati, to the Ohio region. We were just absolutely killed with the two-party system. So that's a really great thing for the mere fact that our citizens are very politically active. They feel that, hey, our vote actually counts, we matter. So people in this state tend to vote a little bit more often than I've seen in some other neighboring states like Kentucky, where if you're not voting Republican, why are you even voting? So that's a really awesome thing that we're seeing such a groundswell of support. Even after the election, we're having people come to the Libertarian Party and just saying, listen, we're fed up with the two-party system, or hey, we've been listening to Ron Paul and the GOP finally has ticked us off enough where we're just simply done with them. So I'm really excited about the movement we're having in Cincinnati and Southwest Ohio and Ohio as a state. The Tea Party, a lot of people don't know, really kind of formed in Cincinnati, Ohio. That was the largest showing support in the country, and they actually kind of set the pathway for how you would organize a Tea Party. Now, obviously, we know the Tea Party since then has been hijacked by the GOP and is not really liberty-friendly. But in their reception, they were very liberty-oriented and free markets, which was fantastic. So we're seeing a lot of great things coming from Cincinnati. Now, the downside, obviously, we have Kasich, who is just hell-bent on destroying the state as far as I'm concerned. He has a stranglehold over all the GOP state representatives, which basically just bow to him and just push through anything he wants.
So what is Kasich trying to push through?
Right now he's pushing through, basically he's accepting Obamacare with wide open arms. He's, I believe it was, I forget which new site put it out earlier, stated that Kasich is Obama's biggest red state supporter right now in regards to Obamacare. We're going to see the largest liability ever in the state of Ohio, which is going to fully be taxed to the citizens of Ohio in 2017. So of course Kasich will be well outside of office, moving on with his political career, and who's stuck with the bill? The taxpayers of Ohio. And I truly feel it's going to be one of the most devastating pieces of legislation we've ever seen.
See, that's interesting because I was reading an article today, and they were saying, well, he's going to cut taxes, and I saw some Democrats below on the news article complaining, and then later in the article it said, well, he's increasing spending by $4 or $5 billion. So
correct.
It's just these little games that they play.
It's really a shell game of money, and they do a phenomenal job. They have this misconception that they're masters of the budget because they've balanced the budget the past few years. It's in our Constitution that they're required to balance the budget. So they're really not doing anything special, but they sure like to assume they are. They have never cut spending. They increase spending year after year after year. 4, 5, 6% every single year. We're seeing these spending increases, and the cutting taxes. They cut it here, then they increase taxes over here. I believe the last thing I saw was he's wanting to tax laundromats. Like if you don't have a washer and dryer in your house and you go use a laundromat, he wants to place an additional tax on that service. So it's all tax. It's just a matter of how it is, where it's coming from. It's all sickening.
So what you're saying is it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay.
Wow,
it's interesting because our governor in Utah kind of does similar stuff. So go ahead and cut down the taxes, but increase the spending just to help the political, perception, within your state. Now, but can you speak to what that does to Ohio as far as accepting all these federal funds that we just printed out of nowhere? What does that do to maybe the shackles that you have to the federal government now?
Absolutely. In every state, unfortunately, it's becoming more and more in that position now. Some states worse than others, and I think Ohio will be leading that way. And, and when people have this misconception that it's not their money, it's the money. Well, where does that money come from except me and you? Now, if you're in Utah, why in the world are you paying for my issues out here in the state of Ohio? So it just really further entrenches us into this huge overburdening federal government, because once you give something to someone, how difficult is it for us to take it back? That's an exceptionally difficult thing for us to do. And these politicians are terrified to destroy their careers, so they're going to commit political suicide and do what's right for the country or do what's right for the state of Ohio and say, listen, we're done. We're not sucking off the government teat anymore. Of course not. So it further entrenches Ohio in this corrupt system.
Crazy. Well, I mean, one thing I wanted to ask you is, it's a little off topic, but it was something that you kind of brought up when you said you used to be a Democrat, then you went Republican, and then me and Cameron have talked about this a little bit and want to get your take on it. It seems everybody's focus in the liberty movement is to go after Republicans and only Republicans. We feel like there's not that many liberals that we go and talk to. I think because we get so caught up with the financial things of the country and not the civil like the things we agree on, I guess. So what's your take on that?
You're absolutely correct. And I go across the state of Ohio and I go to a lot of different liberty-minded organizations, and I always hear that talk about, oh, we can only appeal to the right, or we can only appeal to Republicans, and I just raise my hands like, no, I was an unabashed liberal before this. Single-payer health care, equal rights for everyone, no war, just I wanted to feed the poor, clothe them, everything through government intervention. And I still want to do those things, except without the government. I want to take care of people, but we don't need the government to do that. And I really think it's a huge misstep by any liberty-minded person to discount someone coming from the left, because we have so much in common with them. I truly feel liberty-minded people are the most compassionate people in this country. We just don't want to do it through force, which, in my opinion, makes us more compassionate. And you're right, talking about marriage equality or getting the government out of your relationship, something like that. Or, showing them, if the boot is on the neck of these poor individuals, then how can you expect them to rise out of poverty? You can't. You really need a free market to provide those solutions to them. So I think going after the left, as you stated, is just something a lot of liberty people don't focus on. But I really see it just as a huge segment of people who could come on board and really start supporting liberty.
Great. So how could people within your state that maybe watch this broadcast that are inspired to take action, what do they do to get in contact with you, or where do they find a libertarian group around them, or what?
Absolutely. Anyone can feel free to email me. My email is B as in Brad, J Lowry @gmail.com. So it's bjlowry @gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com, Brad for FOR Liberty. So Brad for Liberty. And contact me and I'll get them in touch with the right people. Even if they're not inside the state of Ohio, you're inside Minnesota, I will find you someone in Minnesota. I will find something for you to do to advance liberty in your area. because sitting on the couch or sitting on Facebook is great, but we all have to take action. You know, what you guys are doing with this broadcast is fantastic, because maybe it reaches one person who didn't have that message before, and it's something we can all do to reach out to someone else.
Absolutely. Now, I have to plug this real quick just because you brought up the state of Minnesota. Unleash Independence has been working fervently to squish the bill HF 241, a weapons ban. So if there is anyone interested that wants to make a phone call, send an email, or just get in touch, come to unleashindependence.com. We have the information there on how to prevent the government from, through force, taking away our property and our rights to defend ourselves. Brad, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you spending time. Is there anything else that you want to get out while we still had a platform?
Absolutely. I'm really excited about what we're doing in Ohio. During my 10 weeks just as in my position, we've already grown county affiliates by 29%. We're now covering over 25% of the state of Ohio with a libertarian organization. And of course, we open our arms to all liberty-minded people and to help advance liberty, agendas. My eventual goal is to have that libertarian church, so to speak, in each county. So I use that term because of the Christian Coalition. What they did in the late 80s was beautiful. I'm also an unabashed atheist, so people kind of usually chuckle when I mention the Libertarian Church. But that way, when we start doing citizens initiatives or start pushing it back against the government to start, bringing our rights back, then we have 88 places in the state of Ohio for us to have contacts and immediately get the ground team going and start being effective. And that's, I just tell people it's a fantastic feeling. We're getting more and more people showing up at meetings. I'm talking to more and more liberty-minded people, and people are starting to wake up. I know it's really defeating sometimes being in this movement and thinking, what are we really doing? Are we really changing a thing? Is it too late? Do we have enough time? And we do. We just need to really start being effective and start working hard. So.
Awesome. Well, I love that, and I think it's best when you said that even if it helps that one individual, no matter what we're doing in the liberty movement, that's the key. I think it starts with the individual, as we all kind of promote.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that one person reached out to me, and that's how I heard about liberty. And look, now I'm touching so many more people. You never know when that one person you might touch might be the next Ron Paul. You just don't know.
Or Gary Johnson.
Or Gary Johnson. I love them both. They're both awesome.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Brad. We appreciate your time, and we'll put your email down below, and all the links will be below, so you can get in contact with anybody from Ohio if you live there for the Liberty Movement. And just everyone, get off Facebook and get organized. So,
all right.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. All right. If you go to Unleash Independence, we'll also have the information there below, and then also just remember, own your life.
unleashindependence.com